Hello, thank you for tuning in to this video. Today I'm going to be creating this look here, which is my attempt at recreating a Hung Vanngo makeup tutorial that he just put up on his channel recently. So I'll link his channel down below in case you haven't seen this video before. I watched the video yesterday and I thought it was a really pretty look, and I had the same eyeshadow palette that he used, and I thought it would be a fun little challenge to just try and recreate that makeup as best as I could. So if you'd like to see me do that, just keep on watching. All right, so I've just clipped my bangs back, and I've already done foundation, which is pretty much the same foundation I use every time I wear foundation, which is the Shiseido Synchro Skin, and I mixed it in with a little bit of the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. He used the Estee Lauder Double Wear. I don't have that, and I just wanted to start with something that I'm familiar with and comfortable wearing. To me, it has sort of a natural skin finish, so it's not overly dewy or luminous, and it's not super matte either. So now I'm going to go in with concealer, and again he used an Estee Lauder concealer, which I don't have, so I'm using my Giorgio Armani Power Fabric Concealer. And what he did was he put it mainly under the eyes, on the bridge of the nose, a little bit on the chin, and then a little bit on the forehead, so I'm just going to do that as well. And he was really using the concealer as a highlighting tool, for sculpting the face. And I don't know if this will have that effect on me really, because it's pretty hard for me to find a concealer that's actually lighter than my foundation shade, because I usually wear the lightest foundation shade in any given range. There are some exceptions, but in general. So we'll get a little bit of extra coverage anyway from this concealer. So he used a sponge to blend that in. I prefer to use this little synthetic concealer brush that I have. I just find it easier to get into the sort of smaller areas. So I won't be doing this exactly like Hung did it on his channel, but one of the things that he always says, which I really like, is that he's just doing the makeup the way that he likes to do it, and he encourages his viewers to sort of adapt it and make it their own and make it work for them. So I'm gonna take that advice to heart today. And I'm just putting a little bit of the leftover concealer from the brush just on areas that I have a couple of older blemishes, and I think he also did it on the corner of the mouth, which I like to do too. Well, I think that's good for the concealer, and let's move on to the next step. So now on to cream contour. He used the Huda Tantour, I think it's called. I don't have that, so I'm just going to use my Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate in shade 0.5, because this is, you know, the cream contour that I have, that I think most closely resembles that Huda one that he used. So I'm just going to place that on under the cheekbones, and then kind of blend it in, kind of swiping up a little bit. I don't normally do contour, so this is a little bit new for me. Just kind of figuring out how to make it work. See a little bit of unblended concealer there, and I'm actually going to use the sponge that I used for my foundation just to further blend in that cream. Okay, so he also did some up on the forehead, so I'll just really lightly sort of swirl a little bit of contour up there. I do find this 0.5 shade a little bit warm, but I find every bronzer and contour a little bit warm for the most part, so I guess that's normal. And you just put some under the chin, so I've done a little bit of that as well. And I'm gonna put a tiny little bit on my nose for a little light nose contour to complement that highlighting concealer that I used earlier. And then later on in the video, he did a little bit of lip contour too. So while I have this out, I'm just gonna do that right now. And for the lip contour, I'm using the Rephr 03, which is my favorite brush for doing this type of thing. So he just did it right under sort of the center part of the bottom lip. And again, just more sort of concentrated toward the center of the upper lip as well. All right, so I think that's the contouring all done. Next is loose powder. So I'm just going to put a little bit of loose powder on, mainly, you know, in the center of the face. Just dusting it really lightly. Hung said he was going for a bit of more of a matte type of look, so the powder should help to achieve that. And he baked under the eyes. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do what I'm more comfortable with, which is just to put a little bit of the loose powder under the eyes. And I will put a little bit of excess, so I guess it's sort of pseudo baking. And then if there's any left on after I finish the eye makeup, I can just wipe that off. Now next up is to do some powder bronzer. So I'm just using this Tom Ford Terra, and he uses that really to set in that cream contour, which I like to do too. If I'm wearing a cream bronzer or even a cream blush, I often like to put just sort of a thin layer of a powder version of that product over top to kind of set it in a little bit. Okay, I think that's pretty good for the bronzer. So next up is eyebrows. So I think I'll do the eyebrows off camera because it's really, I don't think it's going to be interesting for you to watch me do my eyebrows, but he used like a pen type of product as well as a brow gel, I think. So I'm just gonna sort of do my normal brow thing, and then I will come back once that's finished. So the eyebrows are done, and I just did sort of like Hung was talking about in his video, which is pretty much to just follow the shape of the eyebrow. I don't have those amazing arches that Karlie Kloss has, but I did the best I could with what I have to work with here. So next is the eyes, and he used a sort of warm brown liner to start out the look. I don't think I have a color that quite matches what he used, but I think the closest thing that I have is this Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil, which is in Anywhere Caffeine. It's not quite as brown as I think the color he used is, but I think we'll just test it out and see how this goes. So he starts off with lining the upper lash line, and then he also lines the waterline and the lower waterline, and then sort of smudges it all out. So that's what I'm just gonna do right now. All right, now I've done a little bit of work on the eyes off camera. So what I actually ended up doing was mixing that Anywhere Caffeine with some of the Victoria Beckham Cocoa just to deepen up the color a little bit. And I'm just doing it just like he does in the video. So you just take, you know, since I'm mixing the colors, I have to do both. So I just put a little bit of the darker one on toward the lash line, and then he tries to focus a little bit of the darker color in toward the inner part of the eye a little bit more, and then I take a little bit of the other color and just sort of throw that on top over it, and then I just take my blending brush and blend up and out to get the shape, and also into that sort of inner portion where he wanted a bit more of the deep, the depth of color to show up. So I just sort of repeated those steps a couple of times, just to continually pulling it up and out to build up that color. And Karlie has hooded eyes like I do, and so he talked about making sure that you can see a little bit of the color when your eyes are open as well. So I may have brought it a little bit far up, but I think it's all right. And next we're going to move on to the powder eyeshadow, which is the product that I have, which is the same one that he used, the Tom Ford First Frost. So I have actually a whole other video on my channel, one of my earliest videos, which is a little bit of a review and demo of this palette. So if you're interested in seeing that, I can put the link for that down below. But for now, let's just get started with the powder part of this eyeshadow look. He goes into this lighter brown color first and does this on the lower lash line, just all over where we had put that pencil. And puts it all over the lid as well. I really love how the shimmer shows up so nicely on top of the pencil here. It's something I would never really think to do, but I see makeup artists doing that, and seeing it in Hung's video was really inspiring. It made me really want to try this technique. Next, he goes in with this darker brown here and focuses that more sort of along the lash line and just in the outer corner or outer V. And then he uses this pink shade here and kind of blends everything out around the edges. And he seems to also sort of put it all over the eye a little bit after that. So we'll start with the edges. He does it on top and bottom. And then he does it sort of in the inner part as well. There was one more step for the eyes, which was again with the deeper brown here to just sort of define the socket line a little bit. Okay, I think that's fine. And then he does mascara, so I'll do that off camera, and then we will be back to finish off the face. Okay, we're in the home stretch. So next up is blush. He used a peachy sort of, it looked like a matte blush. I'm going to use more of a shimmery blush, but also peachy, and just a little bit lighter tone than the one that he used. So, but my skin is also lighter toned than the model's, so hopefully this will give a similar little effect. think that looks nice. Okay. And then for highlight, he used this palette, the Tom Ford Mood Light palette. He used this darker shade. I'm going to use the lighter shade for my highlight. There we go. I find this highlight gives a very natural sort of sheen. And I'm just going to use that brush also to sort of blend in the blush a little bit more color. And I'm just using this brush that I used for loose powder. It doesn't really have anything left on it, but I'm just sort of buffing everything a little bit, just to blend everything together a bit more. And the last step is lips. So for that he used, again, sort of a brownish liner on the lips. So I'm just going to go back in with that Makeup Forever in Anywhere Caffeine, and I'm just wiping off a little bit of the lip balm that's still left on there that I put on earlier. And just kind of following the natural lip line at the edges and then bringing it down to meet that contoured edge from earlier, and following the same principle up top. And going in a little bit on the corners. Okay, I think that's fine for the lip liner. And I don't have the same lipstick that he used, but it was kind of a peachy terracotta type of color, at least that's what it looked like to me. So I'm going to use this MAC Kinda Sexy, which I think will give sort of a similar effect. It's nice. I'm going to do the liner a little bit again, just because in the video the liner was more sort of visible than it is on my lips right now. Okay, I think that is it. He used a setting spray, but I don't have one with me right now, so I'm just going to call this the finished look. So let me know what you think. Here are the eyes a bit closer up. I'm just filming in natural light and there's really no sunlight coming in. It's a pretty gray day again, so you can't maybe see as much of the sparkle as I wish you could. Anyway, it was really fun doing this and following a tutorial and just seeing what products I had that could sort of create the same look, and following Hung's techniques. I love his YouTube channel, so if you haven't checked it out, you should definitely check it out. He's such a wonderful makeup artist, so talented, and just a joy to watch. He's so calm, and the way he applies makeup is just really inspiring. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was fun to watch me try and recreate this look. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. And if you'd like to see more from me, please subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.